Thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk today about customer service and how important customer service is in today's competitive environment. And this is the fifth in a series that I have done for Axxess. My name is Merrily Orsini, and I serve as a business consultant for Axxess and help in business development. But what my background is home care, and I've been in home care for 35 years, the last 17 of which has been in marketing and public relations. So really happy that you've joined us today, and I think you will find this next talk about customer service to be something that you can take back to your agency and will help you and your staff as you move forward. Our objectives today are really to look at what creates brand and customer loyalty, and then I want to introduce to you the Concierge Approach because it's not something that we are that familiar with in home health, and then I'd like to identify some of the issues and barriers that get in the way in trying to achieve excellence in customer service. I think the first thing that we need to identify is who is the customer, because the customer really is a wider range than what you think about than just the patient or just the doctor. The customer can really be anybody in the whole healthcare delivery system or in the spectrum of care. So it's pretty much anyone who interacts with the agency. It might be the patient, it might be the family, it might be the referral sources, could be the doctor, the discharge planner, could be a whole lot of people. Anyone that the agency interacts with, anyone that anyone in the agency interacts with, has the opportunity to provide a positive customer service experience. And it is that customer service experience that makes someone call the agency back, that makes someone refer positively to the agency, and it is one of the new measurements for quality that is going to be very important as we move forward in delivering health care. So when is the customer the customer? It's not just after you actually start service. The customer experience actually starts when someone is inquiring about service. It starts at the intake process. It's all the way through when you're servicing the customer, and then after the customer has terminated service, and then possibly also in readmission. So it's a long life cycle. So you can't think the customer, you just have to be provide customer service. When you are actually servicing the patient, it really spans a much broader patient life cycle than just when you're delivering the services. So exactly what is customer service? It's not really, as you can see by the span of who is the customer and when is someone required to provide good customer service, it's a process. And as such, it has to be built into the agency, and it has to be built into the orientation, to the training, to all of the processes that the agency trains on. Customer service has to be a component that is considered. So how can you provide a good customer service? I think the first thing is attitude. When someone is answering the phone, you can tell if that person is smiling or if that person is happy. You can hear the smile, you can hear that in their voice. And so having a positive attitude, which is hard sometimes given the stresses and the strains of what we do each day in our work in home health care, but it really is that attitude that is all important. And I mean, think about it. Have you ever gone to a really nice restaurant but had poor service, and your whole experience gets skewed by that because the attitude of that server or the person that you dealt with was not a positive attitude, and that translates and rolls over into your entire experience about that event. And you're meeting customer needs too. You really do have to listen to the customer and make certain that you are meeting their needs and that you are doing what they're asking you to do, not just not just doing what you're there to do, what your job is, but also making certain you're meeting their needs. Someone the other day talked about being a courteous guest in their home, and I thought that was a wonderful way to think about it. When we enter into someone's home, we do have to be a courteous guest. We may be there to perform a function, but you are the guest in their home no matter what you're there to do. So it is something to think about, and definitely one of those customer service points. I'm going to talk a little bit more about conflict and resolving conflict, but I think that's one of the biggest things with customer service. And I will say that the number one thing that you have to do when a conflict arises is to basically be calm and make certain that you're not being defensive. And the most important question, you have to listen to let them finish whatever they're unhappy about and listen to what that is. But then the most important question after that is, what would you like me to do? Because 9 times out of 10, the customer is going to be happy that you let them vent and will say, I just wanted to tell someone and I want to make certain that you let people know so it doesn't happen to someone else again. You may not have to offer anything to them other than just that listening ear. So resolving conflict is a crucial component of customer service, and it does have at its roots that genuine desire to help that customer. So special requests, special needs, and that concierge mentality. I'm going to talk a little bit more about a concierge mentality in a minute, but basically what you are trying to do in a concierge mentality is listen to the customer, make certain you're doing what they are asking, and go above and beyond what they've asked. So don't just meet their needs, but make certain that they're satisfied that you've met their needs and and you've done everything that you can to make that happen. I love this quote by Benjamin Franklin, well done is better than well said, and I will say much better than well said. Now, I want to talk just a minute about the difference between customer loyalty and brand loyalty, because we all want loyal customers, because a loyal customer is someone who comes back and purchases something over and over again. But beyond that, and where customer service comes in, is brand loyalty, because someone who is loyal to your brand, who's loyal to your company, is going to come back because they really value the service you're providing to them, and it may not be a variable of cost. You may not be the least expensive, but if you're providing good customer service and that customer really likes interacting with you, then you will get brand loyalty, which is really what we're striving for in this industry, because that means that customer, if they're discharged from a different hospital, if they've been recommended another home health agency, they will say, no, I really want to go back to ABC Home Health Agency because I had such a wonderful experience and they met my needs so well. That's what you're looking for, is the brand loyalty component. This is just something from a survey from ClickFox that was very impressive to me, that it is that first impression. 60% of the people start having that brand loyalty from that first impression. So that first impression can be the first phone call, can be the first visit in the hospital, can be the first time that the patient, again, that wide range of who that patient could be, but that first interaction is where you have that first impression and that opportunity to start providing good customer service that will make someone loyal to your agency, loyal to your brand. I love Nordstroms customer service. This is something that is truly legendary in terms of customer service. And they used to have an employee handbook, and in that handbook, it only had 75 words in it. And I'm going to read this to you, or let you read it, I guess, because you've got it in front of you. But it really boiled down to the one rule that Nordstrom's had. And that one rule is use good judgment in all situations. So that also applies to customer service, and it also applies to anything that you do within your agency. Now let's talk a little bit about the concierge approach, because a concierge is someone who goes out of their way to make certain that you're comfortable, someone that makes certain your needs are met, and someone that is going above and beyond to answer your questions and to solve your problems. And that is really the approach. That is the differentiating approach that agencies of the future will have. And it is something that is hard to teach, because it isn't an innate process or thought process that you would always be helpful and always want to go above and beyond. But the concierge approach is what we should all strive for, because our customers, again, the whole range of people, do deserve that. They deserve to be well treated, they deserve to have their needs met, and they deserve to have you follow up and follow through on everything you can possibly do to make their experience a positive one. So what are the keys here? I've talked a little bit before about listening. Listening is probably the most important key, but not listening just to listen, but listening and be able to reflect back what you've heard so that you understand what it is they're asking for. Oftentimes, if you're in a conversation with someone, you might get the impression they are only listening, so when they're formulating their reply to what you're saying before you finish saying it, so they're not truly listening to what it is you're saying. And that is at the key of the concierge approach, particularly when we're dealing with frail individuals who have poor health and who might have just had a traumatic experience of being in the hospital. They might have needs that are different for each one of them than the other. So listening to make certain that you are doing what it is that they want, and then anticipating them after you know what they want. Anticipate other things that go along with what it is they're requesting. And then I mentioned the follow through and the follow up. If you say you're going to call the doctor while you're in the patient's home. Call the doctor right there so the patient knows that you are calling the doctor, that you have done what you said you were going to do, and then you can do the follow-through right there. If there's other things that you said you would do, make referrals, then make certain that not only you follow through with those, but then you come back and follow up and make certain that the patient actually acted on those referrals that you made, so that what you're trying to do is following through in the patient experience, and it's very positive. I love this quote by Jerry Fritz: "You'll never have a product or price advantage again. They can be easily duplicated, but a strong customer service culture can't be copied." Now, here's some barriers to providing good customer service, and I think one of the biggest ones is personality. We've all met people who don't have a very pleasant personality or seem to have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning, and I love this cartoon about we'd like to hire you for our customer service department because it's practically impossible to look at a penguin and feel angry. So can you train people to have better customer service approach? Yes. And what permissions do you need to get from people so that you can provide customer service? I mentioned Nordstroms, which is basically make the customer happy and do things that are in your that you feel are going to solve that problem. So if you need to get permission from people to allow things to happen, then double check that. I mean, sometimes rules are in place for a reason, but you can always, there might be a reason that you could get around those rules. So don't let permissions and the rule book make you stop your provision of good customer service. You can always say, goodness, that I've never been asked that question before. Please let me check and see if I can do that. And then another barrier is natural learned responses. Someone who grew up in a culture where they were not allowed to be positive, or they were not allowed to work outside of any parameters, is going to have some natural barriers and some natural learned responses to being helpful. So one of my favorite examples is when someone asks a question, instead of answering the question for that person to say, I've already told you that, you can go look here to get that answer. It's really, that's a natural learned response of being unhelpful. So rather than that, even if you've told someone the answer before or provided them the details before, just go ahead and do it again. It's going to take you less time to do that than it is to anger them and to put a barrier on the customer service for them. The other two is the attitude, the not my job. And then, of course, there's lack of vested interest. I'm going to talk about each of these individually, but I love this cartoon. You can trust our money-back guarantee. Just send me the unused portion of our product, and we'll send you back the unused portion of your money. So definitely not what you want to do in customer service. So I talked about attitude a little bit. That happy, upbeat, positive attitude is something that comes through. It comes through on the phone, definitely comes through in person. If you're rushed, if you're harried, take a minute to gather yourself before you interact with that customer. If you've just had a very bad experience, or if you don't feel well, then make someone else be the one that provides that interaction, and take a break so that when you are interacting with that customer, that you are interacting with a positive attitude. The not my job is one that's awful, because it is all of our jobs to provide a good service to our customers. So never ever say that's not my job. Find out what it is the customer wants and then figure out how you can do it. And it may not be your job to provide it, but you can find someone else whose job it is to do that, and you can make it happen. I can't do anything about lack of vested interest. A lot of home health agencies use contract employees, and some of those contract employees are not vested in the company. And the only way to get them vested is to explain to them that correlation between positive customer experience and their job, and the fact that they will get more hours of work if we all have positive customer experiences. I pulled this off Facebook the other day, and I thought it was, although humorous, terrible for our profession. You didn't die. How about that for patient satisfaction? Nursing isn't the food industry. It's a save-your-life industry. So that is true, but an awful response because, yes, the patient didn't die, but shouldn't it be a positive experience every time that patient interacts with someone? So let's talk a little bit about training for customer service. So prior to training is that selection process, and we talked about some people that are naturally inclined not to be helpful. You really don't want to hire those people. You want to make certain that as you're hiring people, that attitude is one of the things that you are looking for when you are also looking for skills and training. And then you can incorporate good examples of customer service, and you can role play customer service. How do you answer the phone? How do you interact with the customer? How are you a courteous guest in the home? Orient your employees as to customer service, not just the way to appropriately do an OASIS, but also how do you make that customer experience a positive one. This is answering the phone is crucial and becoming more crucial. In the series on digital marketing, I talked a little bit about how, because of technology, marketing is changing in home health. And as a result of technology, what we know is that if someone is searching for home health, that they're going to pick up that phone and call. 95% of the time, they are going to make a phone call. And when they make that phone call, it is imperative that they have a positive experience. We do a lot of mystery shopping at corecubed, and we are horrified sometimes with the experience we get when we call agencies. And home health agencies are really much worse than the agencies that are selling a retail service, the private pay service, because home health traditionally has had a set of referral sources. You're very busy, there's a lot of paperwork involved, but more and more your competitive advantage is going to be based on answering that phone. It's answering the phone, make certain somebody who knows how to take an intake or an inquiry is the person assigned to answer that telephone. You have to actively listen to what the person is saying, reflect back what you've heard to clarify it so you're making certain that you have everything correct and you are moving that information appropriately on to the next person. And then crucial for this is follow up and follow through. So you want to get back to the person that referred the patient and let them know what the outcome was. Did you schedule the visit? Did you actually admit the patient? And what is happening along the process. So all of this is related to talking on the phone, and that will make the difference in a positive or a negative experience with your agency. So how is it that you train to achieve excellence in customer service? Well, you can train people, but you can also reinforce positive experiences. So you can recognize and reward outstanding service. You can encourage positive behaviors and reinforce those when they happen. You can share positive customer feedback. I mean, right now in the CAHPS patient satisfaction questions, then this data is going to go into your value for your company, and this data you're going to be measured against. So make certain that you are training about positive customer experiences and that you're incorporating that into your processes, because it will be something against which you are measured. If you're not a part of those 9 states that are in the value-based purchasing pilot program, then value-based purchasing is probably going to be coming your way in the future. So patient satisfaction will be a measurement against which you are going to have to measure in comparison to the other agencies. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about dealing with conflict. You really do have to learn how to deal with conflict. It really is something that every single person ought to learn how to do and to really have training on. Our natural response when someone is yelling at us or is angry is to be defensive, and you really have to let those defenses down. You really have to listen. And you have to make certain that you are listening and hearing them and letting them complete, even if they want to go on and on and on. Let them get it out of their system first. So that's the first step. But you can train people how to deal with conflict. You can train people how to actively listen and how to listen reflectively. And you can provide examples of this would have been a more appropriate way to handle that situation for a better outcome. And you can train that to your staff. I love this. Excellent firms don't believe in excellence, only in constant improvement and constant change. So just because you've made a mistake doesn't mean that you'll make that same mistake in the future. You can learn from it, and you can move your agency forward in instilling those customer service processes throughout the agency. Incorporating customer service throughout everything you do, so making it a part of the process, it's just as important as the oasis. It's just as important as getting getting paid. The customer service component of what you're doing as a home health agency is a very important component, and because it is a competitive business differentiator. And as the market constricts, as competition changes, it is really going to be important to have customer service incorporated throughout all of your training. HCAP results also are very important, and don't use those just as a measurement criteria. Use those as an indicator of what you can do to improve. So take action on those if you have some poor results. Find out who it is or why that's happening, and try to make a difference and try to make some changes in your processes. And constantly look for ways to improve in customer service. It will pay off in the end. I love this. The customer experience is the next competitive battleground, and it is, so pay attention to that. I'm going to end with this. If you make customers unhappy in the physical world, they might tell 6 friends. But right now, in this world where everyone is sharing experiences and their reviews on the internet, then if you make customers unhappy on the internet, you're likely to tell each of those persons to reach 6,000 friends. So think about that. It's not just going to be one bad experience. It will definitely come back to haunt you. So thank you very much for your time today. If you have any questions, here is contact information for me and for the products and businesses that I'm involved in. And if you have questions, of course, you can always go to Axxess.com. We have a wealth of information on our website, and we'll be glad to help you and provide you with excellent customer service any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you for joining our webinar today. We know that your time is valuable and are happy you chose to spend it with Axxess. At Axxess, we're proud to offer a variety of training resources to keep you in the know on industry news and updates. You can register for additional trainings and watch on-demand training videos through our software or at Axxess.com, where you can also find tutorials, online manuals, and answers to frequently asked questions. We're always just a call or click away. Feel free to call us at 866-795-5990 or email us at support@axxess.com. All of our expert client experience representatives have a home healthcare background. They've been in your shoes and know the industry inside and out. Join the conversation and connect with us on our social channels. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the industry and share resources to help you grow your business and improve your patient outcomes. Thank you again for your time today and for choosing Axxess, your provider of complete home healthcare services, software, and solutions.